these ones. No. Oh, that's the one.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. Long time no see. I know. My name is Nate Miller, and this is Givin Takes, the online sports show where every week I sit down with you all and, we talk about sports. But it's been a while. I know. I'll explain myself. So I shot in episode 11 last week. As you know, I made an Instagram post saying my webcam was blue, so I had to postpone recording it to figure that out. I figured out the webcam problem. That's why you're seeing me, normally right now. I did change some camera settings, so it might look a little weird, but I think it was for the better. I think the picture looks better. So I went through all that, I recorded it, and then I had a thing at the end where I was going to rank my top 10 John Sterling calls, and I had to take a while to figure out the best way to, if I was going to import it via video clips for that segment or audio only. I was trying to figure that out. It was very time consuming, and at that point I was just like, I don't think this is worth my time. I need to get this episode out so it's still relevant. So that mixed in, with a little bit of procrastination, if I'm being totally honest. I put it off, and then because I knew the Sterling thing and everything, it was bad. And then it just turned out that it was just not timely anymore. So that is the 11th episode that was not. It's like lost footage now. It was just a whole mess. But this is the 11th episode that is. Think of it, it was just a week off. Think of it like that. And we're here, and we're still going to talk about fun sports stuff. It's going to be great. Before that, though, I do want to show off a new addition I have to the set. Put it right in front of my face. I got this Paul Skeens bobblehead, the Cy Young bobblehead. I'm going to open this up for you guys right now. I'm going to try not to destroy the box, but I'm going to show it off. All right. Oh, I hate styrofoam. There's so much styrofoam in this. I hate styrofoam. I hate how it sounds. I hate everything about it. It's the worst. All right. Probably doesn't sound great on the microphone. Okay, I got it out. Gonna unpackage it like so. I know you guys can't see it yet. That's by design. It's going to be a big reveal. Bang! Paul Skeens, National League Cy Young Award winner in 2025. This is the bobblehead. This is awesome. This is going to go perfectly. It's going to go somewhere back here. I don't know where exactly. I'll figure it out. For this week, it's just going to be on my desk. But next week, you'll see that in the background. That's a cool addition. And with all that out of the way now, my explanation for why there was no episode last week, my Paul Skeens bobblehead unboxing. With that all out of the way, I'll let you know that this week you can catch me on 3 Empty the Bench Network shows. That's right, 3. Because, every week you're getting me on Hitting for the Cycle at 9 a.m. Thursdays. Then you got Unnecessary Wagers Fridays at 5. To find me there. But this week, a little extra, I'll be on the Empty the Bench Lounge. You can catch that. I believe it's going to be 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I'm not sure. I'll make a post about it. I think it's 8 o'clock. I think it's going to be 8 o'clock Sunday night. You're going to be able to catch me on the Empty the Bench Lounge. That'll be a 3-hour-long show where we're talking about sports. It's going to be great. You guys are going to get to catch more of me. But, if you want to see me over there, you're going to have to follow those accounts over there, at ETB Network on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and then youtube.com/ETB Network to catch all the long form content there. And then also, if you want to follow the Unnecessary Wagers Instagram, that's the betting show that I do Fridays at 5. That is at UW on ETB on Instagram and Twitter. So we're going to start getting that social media active. You can catch us over there. Me and my co-host Connor making a great show over there. Love doing it. And now we're going to get into the starting 9. Leading off our starting 9. The NCAA men's basketball and women's basketball tournaments are expanding to 76 teams from what was originally 68. It's an 8-team expansion. We're going to break that down. A bit of a controversial, not a bit, it is very controversial. And then for our second topic, we're going to be talking about Don Mattingly. He is in as manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, and they have been playing well under him. We're going to talk about that move and what that looks like for the Phillies the rest of the season. Then for our third topic, moving on down the list, we're going to talk about the idea of going 16-0 in the playoffs in the NBA and NHL. 2 teams right now are looking to do that. There are 2 teams that are currently 8-0. We're going to talk about them, some of the teams that have come close to going 16-0, and just how feasible it is as an achievement. Then after that, moving down into the 4 slot, we're going to be talking about early trade candidates in the MLB. I know it's early. Trade deadline won't be for about 2 more months. However, with how some teams have been performing early, I think it's fair to take a look and be like, okay, it's looking like you might be a seller at the deadline. You might want to move a star. These guys might be buyers. It's always fun to speculate, so we're going to do a little bit of that here. And then for the 5th topic, we're going to be talking about the Alek Thomas trade. He was traded earlier today from the Arizona Diamondbacks to the Dodgers. And I want to break down just a couple little things about that trade that I find interesting and kind of how it factors into the Dodgers' recent success, in my opinion, as a whole. And then for our 6th topic, we're going to be talking about the best division in baseball. It's the NL Central. They're an amazing, amazing division, top to bottom. It's a very tight division so far here through May 12th as I'm recording this. So I'm going to break down the standings, talk to you about where everyone stands in that division and what that division will look like going forward. And then for our 7th topic, we're going to talk about the Detroit Tigers in the State of the Union. Everybody loves it, except Detroit fans this week because they are on it because the Tigers aren't really playing that well. Despite them not being super low in the standings, it's a weak AL Central, but it's also a weak Detroit Tigers team, so we need to talk about them. And then we're going to be moving on to the 8th topic. It's a staple. It's the 3 studs of the week. You know it, you love it. I take 3 guys who performed well in Major League Baseball this week, and I give them their flowers, and I show you, who's been playing well. Small stud, medium stud, big stud. You know it, you love it. And then finally, in our 9th topic, it's the April Awards. I have made 6 awards that I'm going to be giving out every month throughout the course of this Major League Baseball season. It's going to be the same 6 awards every season, and the first month baseball has passed us. It has came and went, so we're going to be doing that for April. And then, as always, our ringer, our closer, it comes in the 9th. He shuts down the episode every week. It's the top 10. It's a good top 10 this week. It's a fun top 10 this week. It's one that I'm surprised it took me 11 episodes to think of because I think it's a pretty good topic. So I'm excited for that one. It's going to have pictures this week. I know we've had a couple weeks now with no pictures in the top 10. That finally changes this week. You guys get pictures. All right, so with that big gulp of water, me feeling all hydrated and ready to go, we're going to be talking about our first topic, which is the NCAA tournament expansion. So, first of all, if you don't know what the expansion is or how exactly it's going to look now in terms of, the tournament, I'll break that down for you. So, it was originally 68 teams with the play-in games being 2 16 seeds up against each other and then 2 11 seeds up against each other. There was the first 4 matches. Now, they're going to have to rename that from the first 4 to the first 10 because now there are going to be 4 16 seed matchups, 4 12 seed matchups, 2 11 seed matchups still. That's staying the same. But now they're adding 2 15 seeded matchups. So really, what they're adding 8 games. 2 of them are 16 seed matchups. 4 of them are 12 seed matchups, and 2 of them are 15 seed matchups. So it doesn't make the bracket look too much different. It's just there's a lot more teams to start it off now. So it would actually be the first 4, 4, 2, 2, the first 12. So it'll be the first 12 instead of the first, there's 12 games. So it'd be the first 24 instead of the first 4. All right, it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well, but it's there. A lot of people don't like this because they think it gives teams who are undeserving chances to be in when they should just be out. And that's because we're accustomed to these teams not being able to be in because that's always what the tournament's been. And I understand that. And I was, for a long time, an advocate of not expanding the tournament because I thought it would mess with stuff, round of 64 on, that it wouldn't be a round of 64, that there would now be like 17 and 18 seeds. Like, that's kind of the way I thought they were going to go about it. But then they dropped this bracket, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't nearly as bad as I thought. Like, I'm actually kind of a fan of this in a way. Now, is it literally probably just a cash grab for the NCAA and that's why they're doing this? Yes, that is what I believe, and that is probably an accurate statement. However, I still think this is a good thing. And yeah, I'll say that. I think this is a good thing. It gets us as fans more basketball game. It makes the pre-round of 64 more exciting. More teams, more schools, in viewership, which is obviously what the NCAA wants, but also just, more games for fans to watch. And I gamble, more games for me to bet on, which is also probably something that factored into them making that decision. I mean, it's just more basketball, and the good teams who are still good and deserve to be in are going to be in. And now those fringe teams in the past who maybe weren't getting in that you wanted to get in, now they're all going to get in. And teams that are on the outside of the top 76 looking in, I don't really think that there should be argument of, oh, we should be in, because you can't let like the damn near 80th best team make the playoffs. So I think there's going to be less like, oh, we really were a tournament team. Because when you get farther down that list, I think there's going to be a more clear-cut discrepancy of who's starting to be better than who. So I don't mind it in that regard. I don't mind getting more games because it doesn't change the round of 64 on. I just don't think it's really that bad of a thing. Is it change? Yeah. But if anything, I mean, I'm a Michigan State Spartan. You all know this. It's not like we really have trouble getting into the tournament in the last 27 years, or it might even be more at this point. I don't know, because Tom Izzo is just the man. But for people who root for those programs that are always on the outside looking in, like, I'm surprised there's not a more resounding, like, we like this, because that gives you more opportunity to make the playoffs. It's like the MLB expanding to another wild card team a while ago, and the NFL expanding to another wild card team a little while ago, and the NBA making the play-in tournament. Like, there's been a recent theme of allowing more teams to make the playoffs, give more not-so-great teams some chances to get in. It creates more games and viewership and gets more money. And at the start of all of these, there were, oh, we don't like the extra wild card spots, or, oh, the play-in tournament, what is this? But now they're just very present in the games. Everyone's okay with it, and I think the same thing's going to happen with the 76-team NCAA tournament. People complain about it now, but nothing's really going to change. There's just more basketball games and more teams getting bids. So because of that, I'm actually kind of for the expansion. I don't think it's that bad of a thing. I just don't think people like change, which is, understandable. So those were my thoughts on the tournament expansion. Like I said, I liked it. And now we're going to be moving on. Sorry, I got like an itch on my nose. I don't like it. It's like, I've been blowing my nose a lot recently because it's allergy season. So I think it's just starting to, hate allergy season. But I love this weather. Before I interrupted myself, I was leading us into our second topic of the episode. Lost my mouse. But I got it now. We're going to be talking about Don Mattingly, manager Mattingly. Talk about a good baseball team right now, man. The Philadelphia Phillies are hot. They're 10-3 under Don Mattingly, and this goes for all the games I'm talking about, baseball related tonight. There are games being played today on Tuesday. All of these stats were compiled at like 5 today before these games started, so there will be a game in between when I record this and when you see it, so the numbers will be a little bit different, but for the most, these are the numbers accurately as of 5 p.m. on May 12th, 2026. They're 10-3 under Don Mattingly. They went from a 9-19 record at the bottom of the division, tied with the Mets at the bottom of the division, to 19-22. They're only 3 games under 500, and they're tied for second in their division now. I mean, I think this is good. I think the manager switch is something that has needed to happen for the Phillies for a long time, but they've just kept succeeding consistently until, the very end. So there was never really a good time to say, oh, we're going to fire Rob Thomson, because, let's just go back. 2022 was their first real playoff run when they made the World Series. So you get no hit at home and lose the World Series. That's 2022, how it ended for the Phillies. 2023, you were up 3-2 leaving Arizona in the NLCS, going home, and you let Arizona come back, which, if you know, Mad Dog Russo tweeted out that he would end his career if the Diamondbacks came back in games 6, 7, and they did, and he didn't do that. That's when I lost my respect for Mad Dog Russo. So that's a little bit of a side, but that's how 2023 ended for you. 2024, how did 2024 end for the Phillies? Why am I blanking? They lost to the Mets, and that's it. They lost to the Mets in the divisional round. Those were the 6-seeded Mets, by the way. Bad out for the Phillies in the divisional round. That was just, another bad end of the season under Rob Thomson, but you got a bye going into the 2024 postseason, so you had a bad series loss, but you're not going to fire your manager over that. And then you get to 2025. Last year, you play the Dodgers in the divisional round. You lose again, but you had the second best record in baseball going into it again. So it's like, it's another tough spot to try and fire Rob Thomson. And now you get to 2026, where you start the season off 9-19. And honestly, because I truly think that it was the right move, you go and fire Thomson. And it's because it's like you have the guys on paper, Trey Turner, Alec Boehm, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto. You picked up Adolis Garcia. You got the three-headed monster of Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Christopher Sanchez heading up your rotation. And you got Johan Duran as your closer. There's a reason these guys were World Series favorites going into the season, because they got the guys. So when you have that bad start, you don't look at the guys, and you get to look at the coach first and kind of say, this is finally our chance to fire Rob Thomson because we're bad and we've been coming up short and we're tired of coming up short. And you finally have, like I just said, a good pocket of time to fire him. You do it. And I think that was great, because now you have Don Mattingly, a guy who hasn't won the World Series, made it there last year and lost it with the Blue Jays, although he wasn't like their primary manager. These guys are playing with new life. They're playing a lot better. Like I just said, 10-3. And there's already a pretty wide gap between the Phillies and the Braves. And obviously with how good the NL Central is and the Padres and the Dodgers being good, it's the Phillies are in a tough spot right now to be looking to make the postseason if they don't, come back in the division. But I think as of now, what I think the Phillies' realistic end of the season is being in conversations for winning the division and winning the wild card, like realistic conversations about it late into the season. But I think they're going to come up short, but like barely. I think they could honestly snag the third wild card spot if they really pick it up, because when I just think about the names they got on their team, I know if those guys click that's going to be a really, really tough team to beat. Especially, with the three guys pitching, Sanchez, Nola, and Wheeler. Like, that's a really good top of the rotation. I could see them getting the third wild card spot. I'd say their ceiling is third wild card spot. Floor is probably like 75 wins, in my opinion. I think, though, given how I've seen them play these last 2 weeks, I think they're going to be easily able to achieve that. But like I said, if I'm putting money on it, I think they missed the playoffs, but barely. Mattingly's been good for him. Like I said, I think that was brilliant for them to go and do that. So that is the end of our second topic. Had to give the Mattingly Phillies some love, because it's the Mattingly era now. That's the only thing that changed from the last 4 seasons to this one, basically, on the Phillies, is it's Mattingly now. So I like to give in respect to that. And now we're going to move on to the third topic. Let's talk about going 16-0. Is it possible? Can it be done? Will it be done this year? So let's look at who's come close. So in 2017, we're going to start with the NBA. The two best records, pretty marginally in terms of best playoff runs, belong in a way kind of tied, but not like actually if you go by winning percentage, are the 2017 Warriors and the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers. So the 2017 Warriors, they went 16-1. The 2001 Lakers, they went 15-1, but the first round back then was only a best of 5, so they only had to win 3 games instead of 4. So in the NBA, the most wins a team, or the most losses a team has accrued throughout, or the least amount of losses a team has accrued throughout a single postseason is 1, and that has been done by 2 teams. And then you move to the NHL, where the 1985 Oilers went 15-3, the 2012 Los Angeles Kings went 16-4, and the 1988 Oilers went 16-2. So at the top 3 there, you got a 2-loss team, a 3-loss team, and a 4-loss team. No 1-loss teams, and 2 of them are the Oilers. So we've seen who's done it. Obviously, it's never been done before. That's not news. But we do have 2 teams this year that are looking to etch their names alongside those that I just listed in terms of best playoff run records ever, because they both started 8-0. We got one in the NBA and one in the NHL. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Carolina Hurricanes. The Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously, I was about to say they have 2 sweeps. I think everyone knew that because I just said they started off 8-0. They went 4-0 against the Suns and the Lakers, swept them both, and the Canes obviously have 2 sweeps as well against the Senators and Flyers. So then the question becomes, can either of those teams go 16-0? Because, I mean, we're going to start with the NBA. So you look back at the Lakers and the Warriors teams that I just listed and how stacked those guys were, like Kobe and Shaq Lakers, and then the Warriors team that had Durant, Curry, Clay, Draymond. I mean, 2 historically good basketball teams. And then you look at the Thunder, who have been really, really good. They don't have like that. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is very, very good. So is Chet Holmgren, J-Dub. They're all very, very good. Hartenstein's a great player. No one needs to learn how good the Thunder are. We know that. Do I think they have like the Hall of Fame depth on those rosters that those Lakers and Warriors teams had? Not yet. I think Shai's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure. All the other guys on that team, I think it's too early to tell what way their individual careers will go, just because how those guys all play as a unit is so good. It's tough to tell, like, all right, when one of those guys leaves, how are they going to fare somewhere else? So I'd say they at least have one Hall of Famer. I don't know how deep that list will go, but I don't think they will go 16-0. And I say that because I believe they are going to have to play the Spurs. I think the Spurs are going to win that series against the Timberwolves, and I just don't see the Spurs getting swept. I mean, as you all know, I have the Spurs to win that series, but even if I didn't, I still wouldn't. I mean, it's not like I see the Spurs sweeping the Thunder either. I just don't think either team gets swept if that's the Western Conference Final. Now, if it's the Timberwolves, if the Timberwolves beat the Spurs and advance to the Western Conference Final, then I could see the Thunder going into the finals 12-0. I could see the Thunder sweeping the Timberwolves. I couldn't see them sweeping the Spurs. So the Thunder, and then the finals, I mean, I don't really see the Thunder sweeping either the Knicks or the Pistons or the Cavs. The Cavs, they'd probably sweep the Cavs. I don't think they would sweep the Pistons or the Knicks. So even if they were to make it to the finals 12-0 facing the Timberwolves, I think they probably lose a game there. So I'm going to say no for the Thunder for those reasons. But and if they were to, it would be impressive. Now, for the Carolina Hurricanes, it's kind of a different look for me. So the Hurricanes right now are getting a lot of rest, and I'm not sure. Buffalo and Montreal are playing right now. I'm going to let you guys know what the score to that is. Buffalo is currently up 3-2 with a minute left in that game. I'm going to keep that tab up just so I can give y'all a final score or an overtime update during that. But it's going to be, this is game 4 too. So if Buffalo wins this, it's tied up 2-2. It's going to go at least 6. Carolina's going to be really rested. And if Montreal can eke out this series against Buffalo, I think Carolina can easily sweep Montreal. Now, in terms of sweeping Buffalo, The only reason I'm going to say I think they could sweep Buffalo pretty realistically is going to just be because of how long their second round series with Montreal is going to go compared to how much rest the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be getting. Now, there's something to be said in sports about maybe the week off or all the time off between playoff series not being good because you're not, in it playing consistently like another team. But there's also something to be said in such a physical sport like hockey to where it's like you need to give your body a rest. If your body has more time to recover, you're going to be able to play better. I think that's going to factor in here. So, honestly, I could very much see, regardless of what happens in the other series, Carolina making it to the Stanley Cup Final 12-0. Now, depending on who they face, I think they could go 16-0. If they have to face the Colorado Avalanche, I don't think they do it. If they have to face the Minnesota Wild, Anaheim Ducks, or Vegas Golden Knights, I think they could do it. Maybe not the Golden Knights because they've been here before and they have a little more playoff experience, but the Wild haven't really been there. I think their defense is really good, but they've given up a lot of goals against Colorado. Like, if they come back in the series, I think the Wild could get swept in the finals. I think the Ducks could get swept in the finals. I don't think the Avalanche do. Maybe the Golden Knights. Maybe. But if you were to tell me who do you think is more likely to go 16-0, is it the Thunder or the Hurricanes? I'm going to go with the Hurricanes. Probability of both, I'd say Thunder going 16-0 or probably like 20% in my opinion, maybe 10%, and Hurricanes is more like 35 to 40%. I'd say they could go 35. We'll go 35% for the Hurricanes, like 10 to 20% for the Thunder. So that is how I feel about the Thunder, the Hurricanes, and the concept of going 16-0 in the playoffs. It's a hard thing to do, but I think it'll happen one day, right? It's got to happen one day, and two teams are halfway there. I was chugging. Thirsty. All right. Now we are going to move on to our fourth topic. Sorry, I was pulling something up on my phone for this fourth topic, actually. We're going to be talking about early trade candidates. So the MLB season obviously is underway, and there's already starting to be some separation in the standings. Those are the said standings that I'm trying to pull up on my phone. I mean, the Astros are 6 games out of first place in their division at the bottom. You got Boston, who's in last place, already 10 games behind Tampa. You got the Mets, who are already 12.5 behind the Braves. You got a lot of teams who are already got some pretty hard divisional what's the right word for this? Divisional comebacks they're trying to achieve standing-wise. Because all those teams are in last place, too. It's not like they're just trying to pass one team. They got to pass 3 other teams and catch the top. So when you're looking last early in the season and not really feeling like you're going to have much of an upward trend, you start to look at your team's players and think, all right, who are we going to trade come July? And even if maybe you're not doing that yet because you're hopeful that your team is going to succeed and that you're going to, bust out of whatever slump you're in and you'll actually be buying at the deadline, I commend your optimistic mindset. However, I don't think it's going to happen for you. And unfortunately, some people watching the teams that you were a fan of, I picked 3 guys. I think you're going to have some guys get traded at the deadline. I don't think you're going to be able to make the comeback in the division, and I think you're going to sell. First team I got selling is the Houston Astros. They can't pitch, and they just got Yordan Alvarez sitting there begging to be traded for some pitching prospects. And I wanted to put the Pirates because the Pirates are a team that have really good pitching prospects, but we've already traded with the Astros. And we trade with the Astros a lot, so it kind of makes sense. But I just don't really see the Pirates going for Yordan, even though that would be crazy, and I would love that. And I could totally realistically see Yordan Alvarez to the Pirates for like Seth Hernandez and some other pitching prospects. I'm not picking that because I don't think the Pirates are going to go out and get that big of a star at the deadline. Someone that would go out and get that big of a star at the deadline, though, in a big-time market in that same division is the Chicago Cubs. I think, I mean, they lost Kyle Tucker, who is a big outfielder DH for them, and he was a lefty bat. I think you could go and trade for another lefty bat, and Yordan Alvarez solidify that DH spot, can get you some reps in the outfield if you need, even though he's not too fast. I mean, he's swinging a great bat this year. I'm actually going to be talking a little bit more about that later. And he's by far been the best player on the Astros this year. And he's still got some control. He'd be a very valuable trade piece. And while the Cubs pitching is lacking with injuries right now, I mean, this could be, they're going to need to bolster the offense if they want to go all in, because I don't know how long the pitching is going to hold up for them. So if they just go fully in on it, you know, like if the Cubs go fully in on the offense, I could see them making the move for Yordan Alvarez. Big market team, could use a bat for a postseason push. Yordan to the Cubs is my first early trade look, but potentially the Pirates too. If all the stars align and they shine down on Pittsburgh, then Yordan will go there. But I think Cubs is more likely. Second, I have a little reunion. I got Francisco Lindor going back to Cleveland. Brian Rocchio and Daniel Schneemann, I'm pretty sure I've been getting the majority of the shortstop reps this year in Cleveland. And the Mets are obviously going to be very bad at the deadline. And if they don't want to be stuck with all these old guys, not old, but like definitely not super young guys who aren't really panning out right now under big contracts, you have to move some people. And I think you look to move Lindor because I think he's very unhappy in New York right now. I mean, he used to be Mr. Smile, and I haven't seen him smile since throwing on the orange and blue. So I think it would be honestly better for both sides if the Mets got rid of Lindor and take him back to where he was happiest. Take him back to Cleveland. And honestly, I had him pegged to go to Cleveland before I even made the mental connection of, oh, that's where he was playing before he went back to went to the Mets. Like, I didn't even think about how it would be a reunion. I just thought, oh, you know, like Cleveland's a team trying to win their division in a weak AL this year. Like, them getting a bat could be very beneficial to them, like separating themselves from the rest of the mid-tier teams in that league. Go out and get Lindor at a position where you're not super bolstered at shortstop. I mean, Rocchio and Schneemann are fine, but Lindor is better. And he would be going back home to Cleveland. I think he loves Cleveland. I think he misses them. And we could see that left side of the infield again, Ramirez and Lindor. So my second one is Lindor going back to Cleveland. I think that'd be fun, good for baseball. And then my third trade is Byron Buxton going to the Brewers. I don't know why I picked two trades where I have guys going to divisional rivals. I hate that, but you know, I think the Brewers, they got Churio and Sal Frelick in the outfield. I can't remember who their center fielder is, but honestly, they're in a tough division. If they want to set themselves apart from just the guys in their division to try to climb up that, you know, divisional leaderboard, or the divisional standings, I guess would be a better way to put it, you got to go get a bat. I think the Twins should sell this year. I definitely think that also means selling Byron Buxton, who's one of your stars. I think you got to, you know, you moved on from everyone last year and you didn't really get much for it. So if you're going to try to move on to people this year, or from people this year, move on from a guy like Buxton who can get you a return. The Brewers got guys both on the major league team and in the minors that I think would suffice a trade with the Twins to get Buxton. And that just makes him, you know, faster in the outfield, great leadoff hitter for them. I mean, the Brewers are in a tough division that we're about to talk about here soon, and they're going to, like I said, need to do something to set themselves apart from the rest of those teams. So I think that move is trading for Byron Buxton. Get a speed bat, top of your order, get even more speed out in that outfield with Frelick and Churio. I mean, I think that's a fine move. Ooh, that's one water bottle down this episode. I got a second one here. Hope I don't go through all of it. Except my mouth will be dry. But those were my three early trade candidates. It's Yordan Alvarez to the Cubs. It's Byron Buxton to the Brewers. And then, why am I blanking on my third one? And then it's Francisco Lindor to the Guardians. I forgot. I had to look. That was almost smooth until it wasn't. But regardless, smoothly or bumpily, we are transitioning into the fifth topic, which is I'm going to really quickly talk about the Alek Thomas trade that happened today. Alek Thomas getting traded to the Dodgers for the 17-year-old outfield prospect Jose Riquena. This bit here is just straight from Google. He's a former top prospect known for, or no, wait, that's about Thomas. The blurb about Raquena, actually, as Buffalo has beaten Montreal by the final score of 3-2, by the way. So that series will be going to 6. Jose Raquena actually does not have any stats online. He is a 17-year-old outfield prospect. I think he's actually still in high school, maybe, or something like that, or overseas, and the Dodgers just have the rights to them. He doesn't have any minor league stats, obviously, or major league stats, so the Diamondbacks wanted him. They shipped off Alek Thomas to the Dodgers to get him. And, I mean, honestly, Alek Thomas is definitely not having a good year. Yeah, he's got a 181 batting average, only 17 hits in his 94 at-bats, pair of home runs, 10 ribbies, stolen 4 bases, scored 12 runs. On-base percentage only at .222. That's really not what you want to see, especially when you look at the fact, 23 strikeouts. He's only worked 3 walks. I mean, just a guy who has not been playing well, but he is great defensively. He is a great defensive center fielder, and I think part of that value right there in his defensive abilities is why the Dodgers traded for him. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of that Kiermaier pickup they had last year, just getting a guy who, I mean, you have the bat, so it's not like you're looking for more like guys that need to produce offensively because you got that covered, but a guy you can just plug into center field late in the game for some defensive insurance like you were doing with Kiermaier last year and like how they will do with Thomas, I assume, going forward this year and in the postseason if they make it, which they probably will. I think that's a smart move. And I think moves like that, like you look at all these super teams like the Phillies and the Mets and the Yankees that build these amazing rosters, but they're not getting like and spend a lot. Like they are the 3 other big spenders up there with the Dodgers. They pour all this money into their roster and they just can't seem to get it done. They get close, but they can't seem to get it done. Yet then here come the Dodgers. They're winning it back-to-back years. What's the difference? It's the depth that's on this bench and the key little things that these guys that they make these little, like May, June pickups for do. I mean, it reminds me a little bit, I think they picked up like Ahmed Rosario or someone like that from Cleveland a couple years ago, got him as like a defensive shortstop replacement. That was pretty good for the Dodgers. And like I said, Alek Thomas is going to be a guy like having a defensive center fielder that is very, very good like that you can just put in the 8th and 9th will win you more games than it will lose. Like a good defensive center fielder will win you more games than it will lose you. So I think the fact that the Dodgers now have Thomas and that just gives them more freedom to bolster their defense. Like the Dodgers are so good at everything else. I mean, the record might not show it right now, given that they're in second place in the division, but they're so loaded in like every facet that they're thinking of like field defense is a way to bolster now to just make themselves even more well-rounded and good. So the fact that the Dodgers are able to reach like all of those different corners with the trades they make and making themselves a well-rounded team is just why they continue to win. And it annoys me because, everyone wants to go to the Dodgers because they're so good, but that's the reality of it, and we have to live in it. And unfortunately, I mean, I don't know why the Diamondbacks necessarily traded him in division. I get you're getting a really young prospect that maybe you like, but I still don't know why of all teams you had to. I know you DFA'd him to make room for, I can't remember the prospect's name. It was Ryan Waldschmidt. I know you DFA'd Thomas to make room for Ryan Waldschmidt, but I don't know how this was able to happen of him getting to the Dodgers, who are like, if you root against the Dodgers and want to see a new team win it all, like you're thinking like the last team you want anyone to go to that has any sort of, skill they can bring to a team is the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't need any more players. So obviously for Dodgers fans, I think it's a sneaky great pickup. For the rest of baseball, sucks. The Dodgers are still doing Dodger things, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So, hats off to the Dodgers for making what I think is a pretty solid move that will benefit them. But also, like, come on, let's get some guys on other teams, man. Honestly, knowing the Dodgers, Alek Thomas will probably take that batting average from like 180 to 280 with everyone else's luck. That's what happens when people go to the Dodgers, it seems. But that is the end of our 5th topic, and we're going to stay in the National League and start talking about the best division in baseball. That's right. We're going to be talking about the NL Central. The Pirates, the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Brewers, and the Reds. 5 teams. All currently, they all played games today. I'm not counting, or I don't have the games today factored into the stats or standings that I'm reading off. So this is all, standings as of 5 p.m. on May 12th again. So as things stand, I'm pulling up the stats now. Chicago Cubs in first place, 27-14. Milwaukee Brewers in second place, 22-16. St. Louis Cardinals in third place, 23-17. Pittsburgh Pirates in fourth at 22-19. The Cincinnati Reds in fifth, also at 22-19, but Pirates hold tiebreakers. Every team in that division, 20-plus wins this season. Every team also, this is obvious given they all have 20-plus wins, but they're all above 500. Their divisional record is 116-85. That's a .577 winning percentage for the NL Central as a whole, which is absolutely ridiculous. But really quickly, I want to answer 4 questions about the NL Central. I don't want to elaborate on it too much because I actually did a topic that was very similar to this in my episode 11 that ended up not airing, and it was like a 30-minute segment. Like, it was an hour-and-a-half episode, and 30 of it was me talking about the NL Central. So I'm going to try to trim it down. So question 1, who wins the NL Central? I think the Brewers win the NL Central. I want it to be the Pirates, and I think it very well could be the Pirates, especially if they pick up bats come July. But it's not July, and they haven't picked up bats. So as things stand now, I know the Cubs have been the hot team, but like I said, they have pitchers hurt. I think that's going to catch up to them eventually, even though they've been faring well without them so far. It's a long season. But I think the Brewers are just solid. Mizorowski's playing really well. That lineup is playing really well. I believe they're up on the Padres currently, like 6-3 or something. So I think the Brewers are going to win the division. But if the Pirates get bats in July and we have this conversation, then maybe now I'm actually realistically able to say Pirates. But as of now, I think it's the Brewers. How many teams make the playoffs from the NL Central? I think it's going to be 3. I think the Cubs, the Brewers, and the Pirates make the playoffs. I don't think the Cardinals are going to maintain this level of success for that much longer. I think in the summer months they will start to trail off come June, July. I don't think the Reds are going to be that good either. And I think the Dodgers or Padres, whoever doesn't win that division's getting a playoff spot. And the Cubs, Pirates, and Brewers, whichever 2 of those teams don't win the division, I believe those will be the last 2 wildcard spots. And the third question is how many teams go over 500? That question is a little bit tougher, but I think the answer is I think all 5 teams could go over 500, but just with how everything shakes out in baseball, I think, once again, I think my 3 playoff teams that I have, Cubs, Brewers, Pirates, all go over 500. But I think the Cardinals and the Reds, I think they're both going to be 70-win teams easily, probably 75. But I don't think they're going to get to 80 or above 500. I think they're going to be really, really close, but just barely miss out because of how many times they have to play their good divisional opponents. And then finally, the question, is there a World Series contender in this division? There could be, depending on how these teams attack the trade deadline. If the Cubs are able to get some better starting pitching, or some more starting pitching, increase the depth of the rotation, I think they can become a contender. The Brewers, I feel like, are always just around and in talks and winning the division and going on runs to like either the NLCS or NLDS and just having their name in the hat. So they have the postseason experience. They've been there. I think they do. I think them adding, a bat or a pitcher would be beneficial. If they do that, I think they become a contender. And the Pirates, they really need to bolster the bullpen and probably add another bat or 2 for them to truly, truly be a contender to win the World Series. So that's why, as of May 12th, I don't think there are any World Series contenders in this division, but I do think all 3 teams have the ability to become a World Series contender depending on the moves that their front offices make throughout the course of the regular season before the trade deadline, which I think is pretty fair. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say about the NL Central. They're playing great ball. You got 5 great teams, and the way I think it shakes out, as of now, this will change, and we will be talking about the NL Central a lot on this show. But as of now, I think the Brewers win it. I think 3 teams could contend for the World Series in it, depending on moves that they make. I think that 3 teams go over 500, but all 5 teams theoretically could go over 500, in my opinion. It doesn't really happen, but I really think it could, because there's just so much talent in this division. It just depends on if it holds up. Sorry. And then lastly, obviously, I think the Pirates, Cubs, and Brewers all make the postseason. So that was my little breakdown analysis and look ahead when it comes to the best division in baseball, the NL Central. It's not even close, by the way, either. It's not like it is undisputed. The NL Central is the best division in baseball, which for a long time it was the worst division by like a lot. And it was like, oh, winning the NL Central, like that'll be easy. Like anyone could do it. Like it gave Pirates and Reds fans hope at the beginning of the year because of how weak like the division always was. And now it's a powerhouse. So it's just crazy, but we're going to stay in the Central Division, but we're going to flip leagues now and move into the AL and talk about a team in Michigan who plays baseball in the AL Central who's not doing too good. It's time for the State of the Union. Let's go. Maybe one day I'll have like an intro to this or like an alarm or a sound that plays to get going because it's always here. But for now, it's just the banner flashing up there. It's the State of the Union for the Detroit Tigers. Let's get it going. The Detroit Tigers got problems. Some fans think their season is over because there were loose bodies in Tarek Skubal's left elbow, so he had to get surgery. But it's looking like he's only going to be out for about 6 weeks, I believe is what I read. If not, maybe like 2-3 months. So Skubal's not going to be out long, but Skubal is not really the primary area for concern, in my opinion, at the moment for the Detroit Tigers. Because if we want to take a look at some Detroit Tigers stats, I'm going to pull their record up here. They are currently in the middle of a game against the Mets. I don't have that score for you at the moment, but I will get it. They are currently... Oh, nope, that game ended. They got blown out 10-2 against the Mets. All right, that game must have just ended because it says still going on this, but no. All right, so Detroit just got blown out by the Mets 10-2. I believe that now makes their record 19-23. They had won their last game before this, so it is now just a 1-game losing streak for them. They are third in the division, now 3 games back of Cleveland, 2.5 back of Chicago. Yes, that's right. The White Sox are second in that division. They're a fun story this year. Rest of that division, just in case you were wondering, Kansas City is in 4th place. Or actually, no, they were tied with Detroit. So actually now Detroit falls to 4th place in that division, and Kansas City moves up into 3rd. And they're actually now tied with Minnesota for last in that division, who's won their last 3. So Detroit right now is basically in the basement of the AL Central with a Twins team that I think is the worst team in baseball on paper. That's not where you want to be if you're Detroit. And it's like people will point the finger and say, oh, Skubal, like we lost Skubal for this extended period of time, and maybe try to point their misfortune towards that or air their grievances out at that one fact. But honestly, there's so much more that's wrong with this team. I mean, Kevin McGonigal is hitting 300. He's been doing great. Riley Green hitting 318. He's been doing great. But then you drop down below that, and it's like, Colt Keith, he's hitting 313. He's doing great. But like, let's look at some of the other guys. Like, you fall off after McGonigal. Like, you have McGonigal hitting 300. Your 3 best hitters are all lefties, by the way. Your best right-handed hitter is Gleyber Torres, who's hitting 259, 30 hits. He scored 18 runs this season, over 116 at-bats. And he's only got 11 RBIs and 2 home runs. I mean, Dylan Dingler has the most home runs on your team with 7, and he's hitting 234. You got Torkelson with 6 home runs, who's hitting 207, and you got Kerry Carpenter, who's hitting 6 home runs, but 216. I mean, like, of all your guys hitting 300, you're only getting 6 home runs out of them. So, in terms of power, Detroit has power bats who are producing decently right now in terms of, the power, but the average is not there. Like, all the guys they are getting their home runs and their big shots from are not hitting for average whatsoever. I mean, I don't know when in baseball I know pitching has gotten a lot better over the years, but 300 used to be like the mark of like average, like 300, you expect a good hitter to be 300. Now I feel like in recent years that number's dropped down to like 270 or 280, which is fine. Like, I understand that. It's a little lower than I think it should be in terms of what it should be. But you're even lower than that. 259, 256, 250, 234, 216, 208, 207, 191, 175. The list goes on. A lot of bad batting averages. 3 batting averages 280 or higher on your team. That's not going to win you games. Like, that's why you're losing. Because I'm going to pull up the pitching here in a sec for you, but they're just not. They just don't really got it right now. You only got 34 home runs this year, which is decent, but it's not that good. I'm not sure where that ranks amongst the leads, or amongst the league, so maybe I sound like a huge idiot saying 34 home runs isn't that good, but it just feels low when I look at where they're coming from your lineup. Your team OPS is 717. You're getting on base at a decent clip. 324 team on base percentage. You drawn 158 walks as a team, struck out 349 times. I mean, that's a problem. You're striking out too much. I mean, Kerry Carpenter, 40 strikeouts. Spencer Torkelson, 50 strikeouts. Riley Green, he's hitting 318, 48 strikeouts. I mean, that's too many. That's almost 150 strikeouts between just Carpenter, Torkelson, and Riley Green. I mean, that you can't have that. You can't have almost 150 strikeouts between 3 of your best players in May. Like, that's the very first obvious reason why the Detroit Tigers are not playing good. But then you also move to the pitching side of things. Team ERA is a little high, 3.94. That's not the worst, but it should be better. Through 42 games, I get you, like, but Skubal's been good. You have Tarek Skubal at a 2.7 ERA helping out that average. I mean, after Tarek Skubal, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, and you got Framber Valdez getting suspended, and his ERA is 4.57. Jack Flaherty, 9 starts. He's got an ERA of 5.73. Justin Verlander, I know he's only had the 1 start, but his ERA is 12.27. He gave up 6 hits and 5 earned runs in his 1 lone start. I mean, starting pitching's not good either. I mean, the bullpen's okay. I mean, I don't think there are too many egregious ERAs in your bullpen. I mean, Seabold, 4.09 ERA is not good if you're Seabold. Holton through 18 games or 18 appearances, a 3.8 ERA. I mean, that's a little high. You don't really have too many really. I mean, you have Finnegan, who's 1-0 with a 1.4 ERA, 19 games started, 2 games finished, 5 holds, a save. He has 1 blown save, but through 19 innings, that's pretty good. I mean, I know I just threw a whole lot of numbers at you guys in succession, but what this is all to say is just, even with the Tarek Skubal situation and everything going on around that, the Tigers, in the simplest way I can put it, they need guys to strike out less, hit for better average, and they need to pitch better. Their rotation needs to pitch better, especially while Skubal is out. Because you got a team ERA of 4 with Tarek Skubal on the team. That's on the higher end than you would like, especially for an offense that's struggling. So You got to fix one. You don't have to fix everything and become a lights-out pitching team and a nuclear offense all at once to make it work. You are serviceable on both sides of the ball right now. You're 3 games under 500, but you have to commit, Detroit, to either bolstering this lineup this season, going out and getting bats, or making moves for a couple of key pitchers to boost the rotation, because I know you thought you had the rotation figured out, but it's not panning out that way. So you need to commit to fixing one, because whether it be offense or defense, whichever one you beef up, I think the other side, given where it's at now, will be able to support the bolstered side a little bit better. So you can't fix it all. Try to fix half of it. See how far that gets you. That's what I got for you, Detroit. So that is the end of the State of the Union. And it is now time for us to move on to our second staple in the episode. I know no MLB standings check-in this week, but we did have my replacement for that was kind of just the NL Central bit. I wanted to talk about that, so that's why there's no standings check-in. But we do have 3 studs of the week. Everyone loves the 3 studs of the week, including me. So I'm not even going to beat around the bush. You know what it is. I'm going to get right into it. Starting off with our small stud this week, we're going to be giving it to Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. had a good week this week. 407 batting average this week for the Royals, getting them back in the mix. He's been a big part of it. Had 3 home runs during that stretch, and when you add together that on-base percentage and slugging, you get a nice 1.263 OPS for the kid in Kansas City. So Bobby Witt Jr., great week for him. Had that inside the park home run too. I am giving him my small stud of the week. My medium stud of the week is going to be Christopher Sanchez. And funnily enough, if you look, Bobby Witt Jr. and Christopher Sanchez are my small and medium studs. They're also MLB's players of the week. So I found that pretty funny that the players of the week were my studs. I should just work for the MLB because it looks like I know ball. But Christopher Sanchez was my medium stud. He's been pitching lights out recently, man. I mean, where are his numbers? All right, here they are. He went 2-0 with an ERA of 0 over the course of 15 innings in his last 2 starts. That included a 10K performance against the Athletics, in which he went 8 innings. He only allowed 3 hits and a walk. And then he went up against the Rockies, struck out 7 in 7 innings. And he leads all pitchers this season in B-WAR with 2.6. Actually made my research a little bit easier because after I picked him for the studs of the week, I just had stats compiled in the MLB.com article to read off to you. So that's where I just got those numbers from for you. Christopher Sanchez is pitching lights out. He was in the Cy Young conversation last year, and he's going to continue to be in it this year and would probably be the front runner if it wasn't for our big stud. And our big stud is the jersey that sits right over my right shoulder. It's Big Paul Skeens for the big stud. He was the medium stud. I was going to give it to Christopher Sanchez, but then his start against the Rockies tonight actually propelled him into the big stud spot, because last week against the Arizona Diamondbacks, he went 8 shutout innings, only 2 hits allowed, and 7 strikeouts. And then this week, no walks, by the way. And then he comes back this week against the Cardinals, takes a no-hitter into the 7th, and goes 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, no walks, 10 Ks. So basically the same line as last week, except 3 more strikeouts. So 16 innings pitched, 17 Ks, 4 hits, and no runs allowed for Paul Skeens over his last 2 starts. Absolutely dominant, and in my opinion, very well deserving of the big stud of the week. So there you have it. Paul Skeens, Bobby Witt Jr., and Christopher Sanchez are the small, medium, and big studs of this week. So that is the end of our 8th topic. You know, you'll catch 3 new players on that next week. Maybe 3 new players. Maybe it's the same. Maybe those 3 guys just play amazingly again next week and they all end up there. I don't know, but we're going to keep talking about good player performances as we now move to the 9th topic, which is the April Awards. We're going to be doing once of these at the, I guess, start of every month about the month that just took place in terms of the baseball season. We're going to be starting off with our first of 6 awards we have to give out. It's the Mound Maestro Award. I named all these myself, so that's either a good thing or a bad thing if you think the names are good or not. The Mound Maestro Award is the first award I am giving out. It's to the best pitcher of the month. Who orchestrated the best pitches and the best plate appearances and outings on the mound this month? It was Mason Miller. His stats in the month of April: 14 games, 1.26 ERA, 9 for 9 in saves, whip of .56. He gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 27 strikeouts, 2 walks, and opponents were only hitting 125 against him. Mason Miller, the Mound Maestro of April. And then our second award is the Big Old Boomstick Award, giving this one to the best power hitter of the month, and it goes to Yordan Alvarez on the Astros. I told you we'd be coming back to Yordan Alvarez this episode. He hit .351 in the month of April with 9 home runs, 21 RBIs, 7 doubles, 34 hits, 10 strikeouts, 15 walks, and a slash line of a .443 on-base percentage, .701 slugging, and a 1.144 OPS. Then after that, our third award of the month, we got the Bat on Ball Award for the most reliable contact hitter of the month. We're giving this one to Arizona's Ildemaro Vargas. The month of April encapsulated or encompassed. I don't know which one the right word is, but his 27-game hit streak took place over the course of the month of April. He had a hit in every game he played in April, which is actually the record for a Venezuelan-born player. Throughout that month, he had a batting average of .372, recorded 32 hits, 19 RBIs, 5 home runs, 6 doubles, 2 triples, and a slash line that is a .393 on-base percentage, .663 slugging, and a 1.056 OPS. Then we got our fourth award to give out is the Diamond Defender Award, the best fielder of the month in my opinion. I'm going to be giving it to shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. on the Royals, also the small stud of this week. Went 324.1 innings at shortstop, call it 324 and a third. He recorded no errors on 138 total chances, had 84 assists, 54 putouts, turned 24 double plays. Shortstop's a hard position to play, so I'm giving it to Bobby Witt Jr. for the no errors on 138 tries. And then for our fifth award, the Top Dog Award. This goes to the best team of the month. The best team in the month of April, in my opinion, is the New York Yankees. They had the best record in the AL at the time of 25-12 and a +74 run differential, and they were tied for second in runs scored in the MLB. The Braves had more than them at 213 at this time, and the Cubs and Yankees tied at 200 for second. And then finally, the last award I have to give out, and one of my favorites, I was happy I thought of this because I think it's a cool idea. It is the Moneyball Award. This is an award for a moment that happened in April that just makes you sit back and think, how can you not be romantic about baseball? And this one was kind of tough because I feel like these moments just kind of pop up and you take note of it. Since I had this thought, at the end of the month, I had to go back and look for, all the beautifully romantic, awesome things that happened in the game of baseball the last month. So it was a little bit harder for me to find a moment for that month, but I've had my eyes peeled for stuff happening this month, so May's will probably be a lot better. However, my Moneyball Award goes to Jake Mangum on the Pirates. This one was pretty cool when I saw it. He gave a fan a ball who was wearing his jersey. It was a young girl. It was the first time he saw someone wearing his jersey out in the crowd, and the girl, her favorite player, was Jake Mangum. So it was just a cool moment for both sides. A player who's just getting his feet wet in the MLB, traded to a new team. He sees someone in his jersey for the first time. Awesome moment for him. And then young fan wearing the jersey gets a ball thrown to them from her favorite player. I mean, that's awesome for both sides. And like I said, that just makes you sit back and think, how can you not be romantic about baseball? So that's it for the April awards. I'll recap it for you. Mound Maestro is Mason Miller. The Big Old Boomstick is Yordan Alvarez. The Bat on Ball winner is Ildemaro Vargas. The Diamond Defender is Bobby Witt Jr. The Top Dogs are the New York Yankees. And the Moneyball Award, it goes to Jake Mangum and that young fan. So that's it for the starting 9. And now, usually I build this up. I'm not building it up this week. I'm going right into it. We're going to bypass everything. We're going to, boom, go. We're into it, and then you don't even know it happened, and then we're just ranking stuff. Because it's the top 10. And this week, with it heating up, and people are going to start going to barbecues and cookouts and outdoor stuff again, feeling great under the sun, and just thinking about all those things, and summer, and having fun, makes me think about beer. I like beer. Beer's good. Beer's always there for you when you need it. Whether it be at a bar on a hot summer day out at the lake or out on the golf course, beer's got your back, so I'm doing it the service of ranking my top 10 favorite kinds of it. I kind of didn't know where I was going with that, but I'm ranking my top 10 favorite beers. I like a lot of beers, and I'm just going to rank them. There's not much else to say about it, so getting into it right now, getting the list up here, starting off at number 10. It is going to be Bud Light. It's never been my favorite beer. I've never hated Bud Light, but there's just always been so many other just normal beers and light beers that I prefer, I think, over Bud Light that I'll get to later on this list. But, Bud Light's fine beer. It's never going to be my first choice, but if it's there, I'm definitely not going to be nah, not Bud Light. So it finds its way to number 10 on my list. And yeah, you see the picture up there. We got pictures back. Bud Light, number 10 on the list. Number 9 on the list. Going to go with Yuengling. I love Yuengling. It's a good beer. First beer I ever had, actually, was a Yuengling. Good beer. Once again, it's not my favorite. I like it a little bit more than Bud Light. I think just because of in a way, I'd call it the novelty of it, I guess. I don't have it as often, only really when I'm back home. So I like Yuengling. I don't have it often. I put it just above Bud Light. Good beer, number 9. Number 8, I got Budweiser. I'm actually wearing a Budweiser t-shirt on under, the suit jacket, tie, and everything. You can't see it, but it's there. It's a good beer. I like it. I've definitely 2 summers ago, Budweiser probably was at number 1 on my list. I was drinking a lot of Budweiser summer of 2024. It's a fantastic beer. I love it. It's just there are a couple more that I think are just Budweiser's fine, basic beer. The rest of these beers I think are just a little bit above that, but Budweiser, very solid, very good. Never going to turn one down. Number 8 on the list. Number 7, I'm going the Corona with a lime. How can you go wrong with a Corona and a lime, I mean, it's just something about it. It's just, you put the lime in, you twist the bottle over, you get the lime everywhere, and it's just, there's nothing really like it in terms of beer. A lime in a beer, anytime you can add some citrus to a beer, makes it better, or at least it tends to. I think fruit and beer go very nicely with each other, and the lime, citrus, honestly. I don't think berries and stuff are good in beer or anything like that. That's more a spirits thing, but citrus, I think goes well with beer, and that especially is true. I don't like lime flavored beers, but when you put a lime in a beer, it makes it really good, and I think the best beer to do that with is a Corona. So because of that, and it's just a great outdoor beer, great beer to bar too, I got it at number 7 on the list. And at number 6, I'm going to go with the Mountain Man. I'm going to go with the Coors Light. I love Coors Light. When the mountains are blue, it's good to drink. The can alone, I think it tastes pretty similar to a lot of other light beers, nothing super special that stands out to me. But because the mountains go in blue and just that special little detail on the can, I had to give it a couple extra bonus points. So, it already does taste good and it is a good beer. I had to bump it up for Blue Mountains. It's at number 6 on the list. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my computer was lagging for a sec. I thought I stopped recording. I don't think I did. I might have frozen for a second. Okay. I think we're good. Yep, still recording. We're good. We're good. I'll figure out later in post if I froze or not. But at number 5, we just talked about Coors Light. At number 5, we got Icy Light. That is a Pittsburgh beer, if you didn't know about that. Iron City Light. It's a fantastic beer. It's if you ever heard of Permanis, it's the best-selling item at Permanis. That's a Pittsburgh sandwich place that's very, very good. If you're ever in the city, make sure you check it out. I love Icy Light. I can drink a bunch of Icy Lights and feel phenomenal. They go down very, very easily. They taste fantastic. And it's the beer of the city that I represent and love. I mean, how can you fault me for loving Icy Light? You can't. And it's my list. So that's why, as big of a black and gold repper as I am, you see the jerseys. It only makes sense that the Icy Light finishes in the top half of this list. So Iron City, number 5, finds itself on the list. Number 4, I'm going to a beer that I fell in love with overseas. I had a trip overseas and I fell in love with this beer. This beer is Guinness. Whew, Guinness is good. I had Guinness. I never really sought out Guinness before traveling to Europe for the first time and going to England. When I was there, then I drank a lot of Guinness. Split the G on my 8th try. It took me 8 Guinnesses to split the G, but I did so successfully. It's a very delicious beer. Like you start drinking it and then you just don't stop. Like there were times where I was going to split the G thinking like, oh, like I barely had any of this. Like there's no way I'm even close. And I'm like halfway down the friggin' mug already. Like it is just a very good beer that goes down easily. And I'm not really a dark beer guy, as you can see on this list. It's a lot of light beers. I think exclusively light beers on this list for the most part. And Guinness is just kind of, like I said, a lot of dark beers I really am not a fan of, but Guinness, something about it, I don't know what it is. I really, really do like it. And splitting the G, it's an iconic move. There's nothing in drinking quite like splitting the G. So if I didn't absolutely love these next 3 beers, like undoubtedly more than Guinness, then Guinness would be in the top 3 just because you can split the G. But alas, it is not. It is, though, at a very good number 4 spot on our list. At number 3, it is going to be the best fruit beer in the game, in my opinion. Not root beer, fruit beer. A beer-fruit combo that I think stands above all the rest. It's Blue Moon. And a Blue Moon with an orange slice and a draft, like a 24-ounce draft with a Blue Moon and an orange. It's my favorite restaurant beer. Like if I'm at a restaurant and they got a Blue Moon draft with an orange, that's what I'm drinking. It is my absolute favorite. It's so good. The orange just makes it so much better because it's already a good beer by itself, and then you add the orange and it's just that much better. Oh, it's amazing. I love Blue Moon. It's making me want to drink one now. I'm not. It's a Tuesday night. I got to work tomorrow. I can't, even though, I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. I'd love a Blue Moon right now, though. It's fantastic beer. Getting it with the orange slice. If you haven't had it before, do yourself the favor and order one. It'll change your life. It's number 3 on the list. Number 2 is Michelob Ultra. If I want to have a day or a night where I drink a lot of beers, this is probably going to be the beer I go to. They go down the easiest. You can drink a lot of them like pretty quick and feel good. And it's just a good tasting light beer. And they do the job. They get you there. And you have a fun time getting there with them. I mean, I've never met anyone that has like turned down a Michelob Ultra or said, "Nah, I don't want a Mickey. It's not that good." I mean, I think they're a pretty unanimously very good beer, but they're not my number 1. They're a very firm number 2 because it was close, but it wasn't really that close. Listen, I know I've talked about. I love Michelob. They go down easy. They're a great tasting beer. They could have made a bid for number 1, but I just couldn't do it. Because number 1 is the namesake. It's the beer I've probably drank the most in my life. It is the beer. I wasn't named after it, but I do share a name with it. It's Miller Lite. Miller Lite's number 1. I had a night where me and a couple of my buddies drank like I don't even remember how many it was. I think like somewhere in like the 60s, I think. Like me and my 2 other buddies on 4th of July, and we were on this patio, and we filled out like the entire like row from pillar to pillar on the patio with beers. It was fantastic and they're just so good are these Miller Lights. They're amazing. I mean, 96 calories. I share a name with it. I think it's the best tasting beer, and I mean, a Miller Draft is great. A Miller can is great. I don't love Miller out of the bottle for some reason. I don't know why, but I've just never loved it out of the bottle. But I love it. I know for most all of these, I'm just saying like, oh, it's a great beer because they're all great beers. And I don't know like the science of brewing a beer, so I can't say like, oh, the hops in this one are really good or whatever. I don't know about that. I just know that I like beer. So for your viewing pleasure, I put my top 10 in order for you from 10 to 1. I just went over it, and I'll run back over it for you here in the recap. At number 10, it is Bud Light. At number 9, it is Yingling. At number 8, we got Budweiser. At 7, it's a Corona with a lime. And at number 6, it's Coors Light, with number 5 being Icy Light. Number 4, it's Guinness. Number 3, it's the Blue Moon with an orange. Number 2, Michelob Ultra. And at number 1, the namesake, Miller Lite. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. This episode will actually be edited with no problems and put on YouTube tomorrow for you. And you're already seeing it, but it's going to be put up. It's going to be great. The last episode, it's lost footage, will never be seen by anyone ever again, including myself, because, you know, I deleted it. Got to save space on my computer for the infinite more number of episodes of Givin Takes I'm going to be recording and put it on here. So that episode's gone. This episode is in front of your eyes right now. You just watched it. I hope you had a good time listening to me talk about sports and rank beers. And like I said at the top, make sure you follow me at Givin Takes on both Instagram and TikTok. I'm going to be getting more present on social media again. I know I was off it for a little while. I'm going to be getting back on to posting stuff there again. And then for the Empty the Bench Network, follow them at ETB Network on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And then youtube.com/ETB Network is where you're going to go. If you want to catch me on the Empty the Bench Lounge this Sunday at 8, if you want to catch me on Hitting for the Cycle this Thursday at 9 in the morning, or if you want to catch me on Unnecessary Wagers on Friday at 5 p.m. So, with all that being said, you know where to find me this week on Empty the Bench, and you know if you come back here this time next week, you'll get a fresh new episode of Givin Takes 2 for all your Nate Miller content that you love consuming on a day-to-day basis. So, with all that being said, my name is Nate Miller. Those were my takes.